So as I hinted yesterday, the question that I want to drop on you today, and it's a deep one. This one is a rabbit hole that you could go down and down and down and down. And I encourage you to go down and down and down and down and down. And the question is, why are you here? In the first context, I will ask you of, why are you here listening to this podcast? Think about it. Why do you show up? Now, I appreciate that you show up, but why do you show up? Why is this something you're tuning into? What about this message connects with what you're looking for? Why are you here? If you were listening to this at work, why are you there? What sequence of events have led you to be there? And so the rabbit hole comes into it when we keep asking, why are we here? We essentially keep getting down to a root of, you understand that like the space and time that you occupy. Yes, I just went there. The space and time of the physical world and the quantum level of occupation of what you are sitting in, what you're standing in, wherever it may be. Wherever that is, that's the root of this question. Why are you here? Why did your molecules and atoms come together to make you? Now, when I asked this question on Facebook, a lot of people had the smart-ass answer of saying, because mom and dad, because I was told to. Now, that's an easy cop-out, but I would also challenge those dads that you're probably using that cop-out and humor to hide something. Usually men use humor to really hide something or to cope with anxiety from something else. But why are you here? Challenging yourself in all of those different moments is critical. And I'll give you some context of where it came from. So I was sitting in church and it hit me, why am I here? Now, I don't think I've ever asked that question in church. Now, physically occupying the space within church. And it hit me that I am here to understand him, Jesus, God. And then I was thinking like, well, what's different than before? And I was thinking like, part of all the other times that I've gone to church, the key problem was I didn't know myself. Because if you don't have a solid relationship with yourself, it's almost impossible to try to create a relationship with someone that lived over 2,000 years ago. And you're accepting all of this unbelief. And that, to me, that relationship is hard to build if you don't have a solid relationship with yourself, if you're not acknowledging all these different areas of your life on what you need to work through. Where you need to go can be answered in a lot of this question. Because while you're here, you might be running from something in a context of why you are here. Wherever you are, wherever you answer that, you might be like, you know what, I'm running from something that I haven't acknowledged for 10 years. Whatever that story may be, acknowledging it is step one. Now, going back to my story with church, I was sitting there answering this question, and it kind of hit me that what I heard was to understand the relationship with myself so I can have a deeper relationship with him. And I then wondered how many others knew why they were there. How many other Catholics were sitting in this mass because they were told to, or they had the same, we need to check the box, or going to church on Sunday is just what you do. How many people in this church go to church, but for the most part on the outside, they're an asshole? I was having a conversation with my dad the other day, and he was talking about some of the worst people he's met go to church and swear by it every single Sunday. And I would almost challenge those people that do go to church and still end up being an asshole in real world. They're not going to develop a relationship. They're going there because they're afraid maybe of going to hell. And this is somehow the penance, but they haven't quite figured out how to heal the relationship with themselves to accept the relationship with Jesus and that God offers us. And again, this is a deep rabbit hole and it can keep going. But for most of my life, I was never told who he was, Jesus and God. I knew of him. I knew these stories, the gospel, all these different things that I recited. I went through all the sacraments of the Catholic religion, and yet I still never really knew him, which is why I recommended Becoming a King, because that book really helped me know him. Now that I know me, and I can know him at a much deeper level, it goes hand in hand. And it doesn't matter whether you're developing a relationship with your kids, your spouse. developing a relation with someone else when you don't truly have a solid foundation or relationship with yourself is possible. Is it successful? Maybe. Is it healthy? Probably not. Because you're both probably in a codependent relationship and you're both relying on each other to meet each other's needs for happiness and love and all these different things. And those types of relationships have tripwires all over them and they always end in disaster. So the question I ask you, why are you here? I would love to hear your answers. Tag me on Instagram. Send me a message on Instagram, Ben_Killoy. I'm on LinkedIn, Ben-Killoy. Or you can send me an email, ben@benkilloy.com. Why are you here? Answer those questions in all the different moments of your life. Because there's so much wisdom and depth that you can get. As Simon Sinek famously said, and is still making millions of dollars off of, start with why. That book has rabbit holes down so many avenues of life. Here is just a small taken one. That is all I have for you today. I am Ben Killoy, your host of the Business of Fatherhood, bringing you 5 days a week of business advice and fatherhood advice, tying them together to help you become a better dad, to help you know who you are, so you can become the dad that you know you want to be. That is all I have for you today, and we'll be back again to do it all over again tomorrow.